Now I'd like to begin our show and our first guest, Charles Rowe. And Charles, welcome to New Tracks Modeling. And unmute yourself if you would. There you go.
Thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, I wanted to take a moment and just thank you for joining the show. And I was delighted to see your website, and we've had conversations over the past couple of days, figuring out you just have so many products and so many offerings. It's difficult to differentiate or nail down a few of them. But why don't you tell us a little about how you got into the hobby? And your father, of course, was tell us a little about what you're doing these days.
Yeah, my dad started the business in 1972. He was a Lionel collector. And then he decided to make his hobby his business, which grew into two businesses, which are quite substantial. So in 1972, we opened our first Lionel account. And again, we had the first $1 million order with Lionel that wasn't a non-chain order, it was a hobbyist order. And then sometime around 1986, Lionel decided to go to Mexico to manufacture trains. So we weren't really getting any product for a period of time. So at the same time, LGB came into the market and became a substantial player in the G-scale market. But they only had a few American prototypes. And so we felt there was a need to make American-style G-scale trains. So we started with a boxcar, and we thought it was just going to be a little hobby, but now it's a big business. So that's basically how we started. It was a niche business, and so we basically have two businesses now. We have the retail side of the with the Lionel and HO and N-Gauge and all the gauges and all the manufacturers, and then we also manufacture display dealers with stuff that they need to sell to fill the niche of the G-scale market.
As we'll see, you mentioned that there's a very large layout at your retail center. And it's my understanding that's both G-scale and O-scale. Is that right?
Yes, we run three G-scale trains and three O-gauge trains simultaneously. It's a 16 by 32 layout. And it's really to bring kids into the hobby and to bring people into the store. We're really noted for a destination. People come from all over the world to come here to see our store and the products that we sell. They're quite amazed when they come.
You're located approximately 10, 15 minutes from Logan Airport in Boston, north. Is that correct?
Yes. A lot of people come into Boston and they'll stop here on their way here or their way back to the airport. And it's always nice to see people come in from out of town and out of the country even.
Just from curiosity, that layout, did you help build it, or is that something that you got your hands on?
I only put one thing on the layout, was a seagull. That's the only thing I put on the layout. My guys worked on it for about 9 months or so, and a lot of them hobbyists themselves. And we have a G-scale curved bridge. It's probably about 7 or 8 feet long. That was all handmade by one of our talented employees. It's all hand-laid track, and he really did a fantastic job in the layout.
We will feature photographs from the layout in the retail store. We'll also feature some photos of a youth program that Charles is heavily supporting. And in a few minutes, we'll when we're done with the interview, we'll do some new product releases. But tell us a little about what you think the state of the hobby is. Do you think, you with your retail store, you participate in NHO, I would imagine potentially S scale, O scale, and G scale. We've come to know that, of course, HO is the most popular. Is that that's basically what you're seeing still, and is the hobby
Yeah,
strong?
HO has always been the most popular gauge. Our store more we do HO and N gauge, but we're more noted for the O gauge and the G scale. We do have a large HO clientele that, comes in to see stuff and buy stuff or whatever. I see the hobby is, of course, getting older. Everybody knows that. A lot of us are getting older. We need to bring more youth into the hobby, and I feel how we do that is we have you need stores with layouts, and you need people to support stores. Like the hobbyists have to actually support the hobby shops, local hobby shops, as well as the mail order business, as well as buying mail order. But you need to go in the local hobby shop so they stay around, so people can see the trains. It's a visual thing. You have to see it. Um, to
Yeah,
sell on to sell on Amazon or something like that, you only sell in Christmas ornaments or whatever. Something to go around the tree, back in the box. See you next year. We want the people to come in, feel comfortable. I'm going to put this on a board. My kid really enjoys it. So you start with a little layout and you go from there.
we had a manufacturer on about a month ago, a major manufacturer, and he went to that Springfield show in Massachusetts. I used to go to it myself, and he said that probably 60% of the people were between under 35. I don't know if that's he thought
Yeah.
perhaps the hobby was getting strong again. I don't know if that's what you're finding.
Yeah, we have a lot of younger people coming in. A lot of mothers come in, single mothers with the kids. And we always tell them, hey, try it. We'll help you through it. Don't get discouraged. There's no stupid questions. You come in, we'll support you as much as we can to make your child feel comfortable with the trains, and you can help them with the layout. So that's a big thing too. You need the support of the local stores.
We're going to showcase a couple of your new product offerings, but what's it like to work with, if you don't mind, what's it like to work with China and introduce a new product? Do you do the CAD drawings here in the US, send them over there? Or just out of curiosity, how does that work?
Well, we manufacture also in the US. So
Oh, good.
we have our own tooling here, what we call the American series. That's how we started, US based only. And then when we started doing locomotives, we moved to China because of the complexity and the time involved. So we basically give them a concept of what we want, and they provide us with drawings. And then we review the drawings and we amend them like multiple times, 5 or 10 or 15 times before we get what we want, the design we want. And then they actually do the tooling and production. We get a finished product.
One of the things that really pleasantly surprised me when I was investigating your new product releases is the large number of road names. I mean, that is terrific that you do that. I mean,
Yeah, we do all the research for that here and all the artwork in-house. We provide them with all the deco, what we want, and then they just execute what we gave them.
some of our viewers, and we've gotten feedback that I think I shared with you how astounded I am with the technology in a Lionel locomotive these days. I mean, it's like a Mars shot. It has so much going on.
Yeah,
It talks to you. It has steam, lights.
it's as real as
Is
it gets, I guess, at this point. The only thing we don't do is steam them up and all that, but it's really the level of detail that Lionel puts into is tremendous. And the level of the sound and technology that they have is really nice. They do a good job.
I only wish I had an I model in ON30, and I only wish I had the room for Lionel. I mean, the locomotives are expensive, but they're absolutely stunning. They're beautiful.
I don't see them as being that expensive. Everybody says that, but for what you're getting in today's world, they're not that expensive.
Yeah, in relative terms,
For what you're getting, the level of detail, swinging bells, whistle smoke, um, all the technology in it, it's really not that expensive, in my opinion.
What do you know of the general health of Lionel these days? You know, for a time they were struggling and
I,
are
I think
are
they're
they
doing
solid?
great. I
Yeah,
think
I think so
it's the
too.
125th anniversary this year. It's a big year for them. We had a great year last year. They had a nice product line. Um, it all depends on the line they put out, is how what type of year they're gonna have. So last year they had a great line. We did very well with it. We're having a good year this year. Our orders that we just put in were strong. They're a good company, you know.
Would you say that the G scale is equally strong? I mean, not on the same revenue side, but is the G scale market also strong?
Yeah,
Is it
there's a lot of
flat?
interest. There's a lot of interest in the G scale. People are going outdoors. The level of quality has gotten much better in the G scale, more detail. We're seeing a lot of the HO people coming up into G scale. They want to get involved because they're getting a little older. They can't see the HO or the N gauge, so they want to get involved in something a little bit bigger. The kids like the bigger stuff too. So we're seeing an uptick in G scale also.
Now, I shouldn't ask you, but I'm going to do it anyway. We talked briefly about celebrities and hobbies, and Neil Young actually visited your site. Could you share that story with our
Yeah,
listeners?
he's been here. He's been here 3 times. I guess that he learned his lesson after the first time he was here. He came. He pulled into the parking lot. He had his crazy horse bus that he had, and then he had a Lionel bus, which was all corrugated sided with a Vista Dome roof, which was used to so his child could see out the Vista Dome. And when he pulled in the parking lot, it was a normal day. And then he pulled in, and next thing you know, within a half hour, the place was stormed by thousands of people. We had the mall and police come clear the area. So so the next time he came in a
Limousine.
limo or whatever. Limo driver brought him. But he was very nice when he came, very cordial. He came, his business manager came, and his son. He was very, very, very nice. He loved our
I
layout. He loved our layout.
I was at a show once. I think it might have been Springfield that he happened to be at the same time, and I'm a big Neil Young fan, and I couldn't track him down. I couldn't find it. You know, there's thousands of people there, but well, let's move on to your product releases. I put together a PowerPoint on your behalf, and we've reviewed it together. So let's have a look at this. You can talk us through it. So once again, tell us, there's basically two companies. And
Right.
start there.
Basically, we have Charles Rowe Supply Company. That was how we started in 1972. My dad started the company. And in 1986, we formed another company called USA Trains, and that was specifically to manufacture G-scale trains. So we started manufacturing in the United States from 86 till present, and we also manufactured in China starting around 1995 or so. We made an NW2 as our first engine that we made. So that's basically how we started, and we're still going strong.
Next slide.
Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay, this is an extruded aluminum tank car that we made. We did it in 3 sizes. We did it in a 29-foot beer can. This is the medium size, a 42-foot. And then we do a 55-foot. And they're all extruded aluminum, die cast trucks, with metal sprung trucks, metal wheels, die cast platforms. Everything's metal on the car. It probably weighs about 6 or 7 pounds. It's a beautiful car. And if you notice, the coupler has this is just some detail shots, and you can see that the coupler actually has the extension for the prototypical tank cars. So you have that little extension piece on the coupler, so it couldn't come uncoupled, I guess. This is the safety clean version. We do about next slide, please. We do about 8 or 10 road names in this. and then we do 8 or 10 road names, and basically all of them, the 55-foot tank cars, exactly the same thing, but just longer. So we have something for everybody, all the sizes. We also do a 4-bay center floor hopper. This car is prototypical. So what we do with this car is we do also do the same die-cast trucks with the 36-inch wheels. And the detail is tremendous on this. We do the elongated hatches, we do the round hatches. The bottom actually slides open to expose the grain would come out through the bottom. Put metal wheels on it. It's just really a nice car. And we do this in about 8 or 10 road names. We change them around periodically. So basically, a lot of the G-scale people are going a little bit more modern these days. So we came back with these. We had made these a few years ago. So we came back with more of a modern series this year. So we got the tank car, the hopper. We did the Gunderson cars last year. And next slide. And, okay, so this is the FEF Northern. We did this during COVID, actually, and it came out, I believe, right after COVID, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a Prestige series, which is a series of die-cast locomotives. We first did the J1E Hudson, then we did the GG1, the big boy, and this is our fourth locomotive, the FEF Northern.
Charles, what's the weight of that locomotive, just for curiosity?
I think it's about 35 pounds. And the tender is also die cast, so it's a monster, and it's quite detailed. This was the first one where we modified the smoke unit to have whistle smoke, and we have smoke coming out the steam chest. So we did a little work on the smoke unit in this one. The smoke lasts a long time, and it has the operating Mars light, has a sound system. You can see in this detail shot, you see the front coupler actually turns, the cow catcher turns, expose the coupler in the front.
Charles, how long does it take from when you say you're going to do a Northern, you make that decision from that point to getting it ready to release in your retail market? What is the time frame roughly?
It varies. This one took us almost 3 years because we spent a lot of time on the smoke unit because we wanted to make sure it was right. So we probably spent extra 6 months just because of the smoke unit. It takes about 3 years though, 2 or 3 years to get it.
And I imagine you have to order, whatever, 1,000 of them, right? There has to be some quantity.
Yeah, you have to order a quantity of them, especially to make it pay for itself, the amount of money you spend on the tooling.
Yeah.
But we basically try and do it right. I mean, we spend a lot of time making sure all the details there. That's the most important thing. The modelers know all the details, so we got to make sure that we get it right.
Gorgeous locomotive.
Thank you. A lot of work. Next slide. Okay, this is the SD70 Mac. We did this probably about 5 years ago, and we're going to reintroduce it to continue with the marketplace looking for more modern stuff. So this is our most modern locomotive that we make, diesel locomotive, and so that will be pulling the cars that we made in the past 2 or 3 years, which will be the Gunderson cars, the tank cars, and the hoppers, 4-bay hoppers. So it kind of all goes together. So that'll be available in about 8 or 10 different road names. We're going to do a patriotic one in this road name with the 250th year anniversary of the country. So we're coming to a big year for the country.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess we're going to see the layout now. Okay, so this is still picture the layout. This is the O gauge section where there's 3 tracks running. In this part of the layout, they're running through a town, the mountains in the back. There's a G scale that runs up in the mountain along that mountain range. And that was actually one of Neil Young's favorite trains to see because he thought the perception of that G scale running train was tremendous, which I didn't look at it like that, but he did. And this is another picture showing the same thing, basically the town. Next picture. Okay, this is showing the different levels. In the left-hand part of the screen, you can see the track for the G scale. There's 2 G scale trains that run there. And there's a pond underneath the tracks, or a lake or whatever. And then in the upper right, you see the bridge where the G scale would run up top. So the Lionel would run the middle, and the G scale runs in the bottom and the top. And you can see the level of detail with the brick structures or the cobblestone structures and all the trees, and it's a lot of work. And the rocks, we cut out of the styrofoam all that rock and sprayed it and whatever. So it's quite a lot of work involved to get it to the level that's at. And every time you come in, people always say, "Oh, I didn't even know that was there. I didn't see it last time." Because sometimes we'll have the hobos working with the campfires and stuff like that. And this is the water coming down on the culvert or whatever. And another shot of the different layers. The layout is layered, so it's not a boring layout. There's always something you see different. And that's the G scale that runs along the top through the mountains. So that's a nice picture. You can see the level of detail, all the people, the lights. People just love to just look at it. It's pretty amazing. This again is in the middle with the O gauges. There's the bridge, that bridge in that picture where the G scale runs on top. That was made by hand by one of my employees who's very talented. And all the G scale track on that level is all bent by him and hand laid. So it's really quite something, that wooden structured bridge. Next. This is like a section underneath the bridge where they were doing some work. Looks like some workers were working on the railroad cars or whatever, and hobos around. So it's cool. There's a lot of detail when you walk around. You can see the detail in the wooden structure too, with the bolts and nuts and bolts and strapping or whatever. There's this Making Trains Fund. We're involved in this group. Actually, not a group. It's 2 people, Steve and Melinda Junks from Nashville. They actually got started in this. They were out at Caboose Hobbies at a G scale train show, and they were in line, and there was a young man. He was buying a bunch of stuff at Caboose Hobbies, and they just happened to talk to him. They said, "What are you going to do with that stuff?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to make a model train to put in the competition, but I'm competing against all adults, and I'm never going to win." So Steve and Melinda kind of thought about it and said, why don't we have a kids competition? So they were the caretakers of the Nashville G scale show. So they came to me and we talked about it a little bit, and we said, well, why don't we make flat cars, and the kids can decorate the flat cars, and we'll give them an award. So I donated a locomotive to be the award, and I gave them 25 or 30 flat cars. So that's how it got started. So what they do is they go to train shows. There's 4 of them this year, 4 G scale shows.
Go to the next slide there, Phil.
What's that?
You should go to the slide and show the pictures of the children.
Okay, next slide.
You can skip this. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, all right. So here is, this was out, looks like it was at the Springfield show. So what we do is we donate the flat cards, and Steve and Melinda brings um, items to put on the flat cards that the kids can put on to decorate them. So it's strictly for, I believe it's 14 or 16 and under, strictly for kids. So they get to decorate these flat cards. And this year we have 4 shows that we're gonna do this exhibit at. And the kids actually love it. I mean, we did Springfield last year. The kids are asking to come back. You're going to have it? Absolutely. So the kids do these cars and they get an award, whoever wins or whatever. And the club is nice enough to put all these flat cars on a train and run it on the club layout for a period of time so the kids can actually see their flat cars running. So it's really quite an event. Steve and Melinda put a lot of time into it. They make all these wooden boxes, and they collect all these donations for like animals and stuff like that. And they also do a bunch of buildings that the kids can decorate the buildings. They paint them, they do the different things. So it just basically gets the kids interested in the hobby. So now they have their own car, and then then it's okay, I want to train my own train. So that's how you get them started. But it's really quite a thing. We got the kids asking again. You can see the picture, second photo from the left. Those are all the kids' decorated cars running on a layout. So, like I say, this year we're going to do 4 different shows, in total 250 contestants we expect. So that's quite a good turnout to get people interested. And then Steve and Melinda they spent a lot of time cutting wood, putting it all together, and the least I could do was give them the cars to go with it. They do all the work.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice people too. And here's the 4 shows they're going to be at. Be the Rocky Mountain Show in April in Denver. And then they're going to be up where we are in West Springfield. And then they're going to be packing the car up in West Springfield and going to Ohio to do the second show. And then the last one for the year is the National Guard and Railway Convention in Sacramento, California. So they have like, I believe they have 100 kids registered for the Sacramento show. So it's going to be a big event.
Well, we still have a little bit of time. I'd like to, since we are a live Zoom show and we have live YouTubers as well, does anyone in any of our viewers here on the Zoom have any questions for Charles? Anything at all?
Charles, Phil Edholm. So actually, I'll probably see you in Sacramento because I'm out here in the Bay Area. But we have a fairly active G-Scale club here. If they were interested in doing that at an event, would they contact you or the other folks? And how would they, and actually I'm pretty sure they'll be at the Garden Railway in
Yeah,
Sacramento.
Steve and Melinda will be there, and they actually run they formed their own company to do that. We're only supportive and a supporting
Okay.
thing, but they're the ones who run the show, and they're the ones who maintain it and all that. They have
Yeah.
if you go to their website, Making Trains Fun, you can contact them through their website, and they'd be glad to help you out in any way they can. They're very nice people.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Charles? Well, that was just absolutely phenomenal segment, Charles. We have to invite you back. That was
Thank you. Anytime. I'd love to come back.
was very interesting, and the just the dynamics of what you do, and the realization that the youth and model railroading are critical to our future, and you're doing that with your layout at your retail center, and of course supporting the youth is just marvelous.
Yeah, we need more layouts. When we go to the shows, it's nice when you go to a show and they have layouts that, the kids can actually come in and see and take a little interest, and you have some imagination that what they can do. I always tell people too, they always come up to us at the shows and they'll say, well, I don't know how to get started. What do I do? They're overwhelmed. We're like, just buy a circular track and put a train on it, let it run. That's all you have to do to start it. You don't have to go big. You don't have to say, I'm going to do the whole backyard. You start small on the deck. You put a circle, an engine, a few cars, make sure there's interest. Then you can expand it, add another circle track or make it a little bit bigger. And you'll see the whole family will take an interest in it because it's a family type hobby. The G scale is more family based.
Well, I thank you very much, and thank you for taking my calls the past few days to
Well, thank
do
you.
this.
Thank
And,
you for having me. I appreciate it.